smuggling these very strange bioweapons into our country. They call them research materials, and they were incubating it in the University of Detroit. Han is a citizen of the PRC. Now, she obtained her master's degree and is currently pursuing a PhD from colleges of life science and technology in Wuhan. Oh, you remember Wuhan? Another Chinese so-called PhD arrested and charged for smuggling these very strange bioweapons into our country. They call them research materials. And when you look into what these research materials include, things like very dangerous fungi, that turns into a problem for our country when they're breaking the law to do it. So Kash Patel posted about this, and we pulled up the criminal complaint that has been filed against this individual called Chengxuak Han, who I believe is actually female. But Kash posted this. He says, yesterday, FBI Detroit arrested a second Chinese national on charges of smuggling biological materials into the U.S. and lying to federal agents. And the first one that we covered here on this channel was another one called Fusarium germanium, pronunciation botched, but it's a very dangerous fungi that, if released, can cause physical illness to people and can just decimate crops and plants, and you don't want it anywhere. And they were incubating it in the University of Detroit, or of University of Michigan in Detroit, after it was smuggled through the Detroit airport. So this second person is now called Chengxuan Han, a citizen of the PRC and a PhD student, so-called, in Wuhan, China. Han is the third PRC-connected individual charged on similar allegations in recent days. Han is alleged to have sent 4 packages to the U.S. from China containing biological material related to round worms, addressed to individuals associated with a lab in the University of Michigan. So different than the fungi. Upon arriving at the Detroit Metropolitan Airport, Han allegedly made false statements to federal officers regarding the packages she had previously mailed and had erased her electronic device just days prior. Now, in a follow-up interview with the FBI, Han admitted to sending the packages and lying about their contents, and this case is part of a broader effort to crack down on the Chinese smuggling pathogens, and they're working relentlessly to undermine our research institutions. So now this is number 3. They have a full press release over here. The complaint has been filed. They give us some statements about it, but let's just look at the document. So here it is. The criminal complaint filed in the Eastern District of Michigan against Chengxuan Han, alleging that from September 24 to June 2025, in the Eastern District of Michigan, 2 counts for this woman. 18 U.S. Code 545, smuggling goods into the United States, and 1001 for false statements, approved here by the judge, Elizabeth Stafford, and signed by FBI Special Agent Edward Nee. He writes, all right, I'm a special agent with the FBI. I've been employed in this capacity since March 24, and I do a lot of work, national security. And I make this affidavit in support of these charges for 2 crimes against Han. The facts contained in this affidavit are from my observations. It doesn't include everything, but it includes a lot and the things necessary for charges. Saying Han is a citizen of the PRC. Now, she obtained her master's degree and is currently pursuing a PhD from colleges of life science and technology. In Wuhan. Oh, we remember Wuhan. Yeah. Han was refused her initial U.S. visa on March, with the cited reason being that she struggled significantly to conduct the interview in English, can't hardly speak it, a necessary condition for the J-1 visa. Consular noted and indicated that Han could not clearly answer basic questions about herself or her research. Han reapplied for a second time, March 27, 2025, recently. The consular officer specifically noted that she spoke credibly about her educational background, current studies, and postgraduate plans. Wild, all right? So she got really good at English pretty quickly. March 18, 2025, she's like, she can't speak English. March 27th, she comes back, and now she's like, wow, yeah, no, she's great. She can't even answer basic questions about herself. Now she can talk about postgraduate plans, current studies, and her educational background. She's like reciting Shakespeare too. I don't know how that happened. But from September of 2024 to March of 2025, Han was listed as the sender of 4 separate packages of concealed or mismanifested biological material addressed to individuals associated with the lab in Michigan. According to shipping records, the consignees were recipient 1 and recipient 2. Now, these packages did not contain the correct documentation and were not imported per correct regulations. So on June 8th this year, not long ago, 2 days ago, Han arrived at the McNamara Airport in Detroit on board a flight from Shanghai, China. She got in at 6:20 p.m. after a long flight. She was inspected and interviewed by Border Patrol. During the secondary inspection, Han made false statements that she had not sent packages to members of the lab. I said, oh yeah, we got your name. We got that recorded in our customs. Yeah, it popped up here. Did you send these packages from China over here? We're asking you questions about that. When pressed, Han admitted, oh yeah, I did ship those packages to members of the lab. She's like, oh yeah, I guess I did. We got a signature, comes from you. You said this is your address. This is return address. This looks like yours. Is this yours? Han initially stated to the officers that the packages, oh, well, what was in them? Well, they were just plastic cups, little plastic cups for like beer pong when we get to University of Michigan. Except they were Petri dishes and it was a book. She says, well, it's just some beer pong cups and a book on America, democracy. Says, omitting the envelope was inside with suspected biological materials concealed in the book. Border Patrol officers confronted her about the packages. They said, okay, actually, there are biological materials in there. There's not cups, there's Petri dishes. She admitted, yeah, okay, I did send the packages. Now she's just slowly chipping away at her. Slowly saying, okay, they actually did send them. There was a nematode growth medium in there. That's all. They were just NGM. It's not even a big deal. NGM is a specific type of nutrient-rich agar-based medium used to cultivate nematode worms like C. elegans in laboratory settings. So it's just like an empty growth medium. We're going to do some experiments with it, not a big deal. Said, and there were plasmids in the envelope. Now, based on my training and experience as the special agent, shout out to this smart FBI guy, says it is unlikely the Petri dishes contain solely NGM because NGM is readily available and it's inexpensive in the United States. Just go get it at the NGM store, obviously. Border Patrol officers conducted a manual review of Han's electronic devices and found that Han deleted the content of her devices 3 days before she got to the United States. Whoa, that's weird. What's happening there? Why'd you delete everything? Now, at the conclusion of the inspection, a custodial interview was conducted by agents from the FBI and Homeland. Man, they showed up. Han admitted to sending 4 separate packages to members at the lab. She further admitted the packages contained plasmids and petri dishes of C. elegans research laboratory in Wuhan. And she admitted to making false statements during the inspection. You got me. I lied. Hopefully they tell us more about C. elegans. Now, according to the lab website, lab studies sensory biology over there, including mechanicosensation, thermosensation, chemosensation, photosensation, and nociception. Now, the lab focuses on sensory transduction, processing, and regulation of aging. And Han, when she got her offer letter from Michigan, it states that she was invited as a visiting scholar, probably by some other Chinese agents in there. Yeah, just invite her over. According to the lab website, recipient 1 is identified as an active member of the lab who's getting these samples. From the Michigan Online Directory, recipient 2 is a member of the faculty. Yeah. The student and the exchange visitor, hopefully in the CVIS record, for recipient 2 lists recipient 2 and a UM professor as being points of contact. So based on the website, there is a search option to validate if an organism requires a permit based on the USDA website. If you go search for this, it's called C. elegans. Canidorhabditis elegans, C. elegans, reveals that the USDA does require a permit for the importation of this. The U.S. Code of Federal Regulation also mandates that no organisms that should be vectors of problems can come in without a permit. Now here's the background on this Han person. She's a citizen of the PRC, currently pursuing a PhD in China. According to her personal statement found in her immigration paperwork, she studies fundamental questions in neuroscience and physiology, and bioweapons research apparently. Specifically, her research aims to understand how animals detect sensory cues, such as touch, light, chemicals, and temperature, and how neural circuits and synapses process this information to produce output. Additionally, Han's research seeks to understand how genes and drugs regulate these processes. She's been a co-author of 2 articles that relate to C. elegans, and Han listed a professor at Michigan as her contact advisor. Now, she was refused her initial visa in March 18th. Cited reason being she can't speak English. Consular notes indicate she could not clearly answer basic questions. She reapplied a second time, like 9 days later, a week later. The consular officer specifically noted that she was great, spoke credibly about her educational background, current studies, and postgraduate plans. It's like wild. Like swap the chip in or something? Han stated that her post-study plans were to return to China. She stated that she had to complete her doctoral dissertation, which was going to happen September 2026. So here's the smuggling of the biomaterials. On September 18th, last year, 24, she was listed as the shipper for a parcel manifested as letter to recipient 1. Who are these recipients? Package was seized by Border Patrol, and an inspection revealed a biological sample, which appeared to be plasmids labeled as PRK5. According to Open Research, PRK5 likely refers to a gene or protein related to C. elegans. See right there. Here that's coming in the package. PRK5 right in there. There's your bioweapon. This, might be Chinese. I don't speak Chinese or Mandarin, but it might say, have fun. Good luck. On September 24, Han was listed as the shipper for another package called Shipment 2, addressed to recipient 1 at their residence. The shipment was manifested as plastic plates. Just plastic plates, for dishes. However, an inspection revealed 8 petri dishes containing what appeared to be biological materials. Oh, look at those. Yeah, look at all those little growths right there. Oh, disgusting. Looks like a Hunter Biden painting. Wow. Before he had other people ghost paint for him. Anyway, so yeah, pretty disgusting. Or Hunter's, anyways. So you see, on October 7th, Han was listed as a shipper for a package manifested as a letter. She sent another one, shipment 3, also to recipient 1 at the residence. So who are those people? An inspection of the package also revealed plasmids with the markings called HA Cluck 1 rat. Oh, great. So there's another one coming in from China. It comes from China, as we see. On March 1st, Han was listed as the shipper for a package manifested as shipment 4. An inspection of that package yielded a book with an envelope tucked into the middle of the pages. The envelope contained a handwritten note with 28 shapes and a labeling scheme with each shape. The handwritten note stated, "Hello, this is a fun letter with interesting patterns. I hope you can enjoy the pleasure within it." Wild, all right? It's like a kid's painting. Nomenclature of the labels are consistent with biological materials related to C. elegans research. For example, a search of Gouveia and Luc reveals GAO alpha O has been shown to modulate neural activity in C. elegans. And Luc, nano-Luc luciferase, is a small, highly stable enzyme used as a luminescent reporter protein in various biomedical research. Searches of other labeled shapes yielded similar C. elegans related results. And here you go. All right, so just mix some of this over here and then splice in a little bit of that like we did with the COVID spike protein, shove that in there, and then we're just gonna add a little drop of that, a little dabble of that, and boom, you've got COVID-3. Now, all 4 of the packages were improperly manifested, lying, and did not contain the proper documentation for importing bioweapons. Additionally, the package containing the handwritten note showed no signs of concealment. Based on my training and experience, biological samples, such as plasmids, are often placed within a book and manifested only as a book for shipment as a means of concealment from U.S. Customs. Then she got into the United States, June 8th. Officers conducted a secondary inspection and an interview with the translator present. During the interview, officers asked Han, "Did you send packages to recipient 1 to that person?" "No, I don't remember sending him anything." After they brought up the specific packages, they said, "Well, we got 4 of them. This one, this one, this one, this one." Han admitted, "Okay, yeah, I did actually sometimes send packages." When asked what the packages contained, Han initially stated that she could not recall what she had sent. I don't know, just, beer pong stuff. A CBP officers asked Han if she had sent a package manifested as plastic plates and cutlery. She replied, "Oh yeah, I love those plates." Officers asked what was in the plates. She said, "Oh, those. Well, there was just a water solution. It's basically just sodium oxide and agar, which is not a big deal." So then officers displayed pictures of the petri dishes from the Google images, and Han stated, "Oh yeah," they're like, "Oh, like this? Like they kind of look like this?" I said, "Yeah." So then they asked if she had shipped documents. She says, "Well, yeah, of course I've sent documents." Officers asked, "Why did you send a book to the second person?" She replied she found the book interesting. "I thought it was democracy." She wanted to share with the recipient. Han was asked if there was anything besides the book in the book, and she said, "No, of course not. What do you mean, like a bookmark? No." Han was asked if there was an envelope. "We're asking about an envelope, Han." She said, "Well, I don't understand what you mean. An envelope inside the book?" After a demonstration, they're like, "Oh, okay, PhD scholar. Here, let me show you." After a demonstration of placing an envelope like inside the legal pad, they said like this. Put it in there, close it, so you can seal it so we don't see it, Showing her into her face and explaining it to her, Han stated, "Oh yeah, I actually have sent a document similarly." Like, yeah, that's we know. Han was asked if anything was inside the envelope. She said, "Well, yeah, there was a picture game in the book. that she had created with all sorts of fun shapes to connect. Your kids can connect the dots. Officers showed an image from the seizure shipment 4. She said, yeah, that's my handwriting. That's my note. Says, well, I did get the book myself. And did anybody tell you to send this? No one told me to send it. I'm just doing this on my own. Han originally denied that the note contained research material. No. After further questioning by the officers, however, she admitted it did contain research material and it contained plasmids. Han mentioned the shapes could be cut out and introduced into water to see if the materials matched. Based on my training and experience, she says, yeah. Plasmids are commonly shipped on filter paper. Once received, they're extracted using water-based solutions for further use in research. And as mentioned above, nomenclature of the labels are consistent that these materials are related to C. elegans research. Just like in the other case, it was some other fungi, Fusarium germanium. Han indicated that she wanted to send recipient 2 plasmids, but I wasn't sure if I was allowed to send them. So therefore, Han and the mail staff decided to just send the package as a letter. Just put it in a book, no one will see. Now, following the secondary inspection of Han by Border Patrol, an FBI agent in Homeland came in. They conducted another interview of Han with a translator present. Han was informed, you're being arrested. You're advised of your Miranda rights. She acknowledged she understood her rights and agreed to speak with agents. Now, Han stated that she was a doctoral student in China and was coming to the University of Michigan for 1 year to complete her assignment. Professors at HUS collaborated with Han's intended professor, which, who is that? Han stated she knew recipient 1 and recipient 2 from China. They both studied C. elegans. Han identified recipient 1 to be a researcher under direction of that professor and also thought recipient 2 was also in the same lab. So who is the head of the lab? Han stated she conducted research on C. elegans life cycles in China, intending to continue that in the United States. While at HUS, Han produced the desired plasmids using E. coli, another dangerous one. Han isolated the plasmids and injected them into the C. elegans as the primary method to conduct her research. Yeah, and remember that in the original summation of, COVID, we saw that the cleavage sites, I think is what we referred to them as, where you can see where it looks like different viruses are kind of lopped off and assembled together. There was that great article that said, yeah, they took the head of this, they took the body of that, and they just kind of smashed them together, and boom, you've got COVID. So it sounds like they're trying to do the same thing. Based on my training and experience, plasmids are often used to introduce genetic modification of organisms like C. elegans to weaponize it. Now, agents presented images of the shipments to Han, 1 and 3. Han stated shipment 1 and shipment 3 were plasmids. Yeah, I created those in China, just importing them illegally into your country. Han stated she sent shipment 1 and 3 because she thought that they would be interesting to recipient 1. Look what I've cultured here. Agents presented images of shipment 2. Han stated the depicted petri dishes did contain C. elegans from her research in China. She stated she sent shipment 3 because recipient 1 said she needed research for her project. Okay, so that's female. I wonder if that's one of the others who've already been arrested. Han was presented an image of shipment 4, stated that the depicted filter paper contained 28 separate plasmids from her research. She said, I sent this as a game with clues written above each plasmid, whatever. Stated that recipient 2 would sequence the plasmids to identify what they were for fun. It's just a little fun game where you're just sending in biomaterials to each other. Han estimated each plasmid could take 1 week to sequence. Now, she could not recall exactly how many packages she sent to the United States. Said probably between 5 and 10. Yeah. Han stated she was informed by Chinese couriers that several of the packages were lost in transit. Han also stated that recipient 2 in the States contacted her about shipment 4 and said customs contacted me about the shipment. All right, so that dude was on alert too, saying, hey, the stuff you're sending is getting picked up by customs. So who is that? Han denied that her professor had any knowledge of the shipments and stated that she was not directed by anyone to send any of the 4 packages. She also stated recipients 1 and 2 did not have knowledge of her plans and characterized these as surprises to them and soon to be a surprise for America. Han stated she deleted the contents of her device because she wanted a fresh start while she was in the United States. And Han stated that she lied during her interview with officers during the secondary inspection. She also stated she believed it would implicate recipient 2 if she told the truth when asked by the officers. And so, hopefully they're on to everybody else there, saying, based on the factual information that we've got here, Han has broken the law, smuggling goods and false statements, and I respectfully request you issue a criminal complaint and an arrest warrant for this person. And the court published a little bit of her initial appearance that was occurring yesterday in USA versus Han. It's a very short proceeding. Here's a little bit of a soundbite of what it sounds like, because you can hear the translation and the communication lag that's occurring here.
Thank you.
I have explained to Ms. Han that the detention hearing will be held on Wednesday at 1 p.m., Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Han, the government has a right to a detention hearing, and it has a right to adjourn the hearing for up to 3 days.
律师呢有权就是要求一个就是关押的那个听审，
Translation
他们也有
happening.
就是3天之内就是要求举行一个听审。
Yeah. Well, let me actually back up. I don't believe these statutes trigger the right to a detention hearing. Mr. Sausenstein, I assume that you are requesting detention based upon a serious risk of flight.
That's correct, Your Honor. We are moving under F2 based on the facts contained in the complaint. I can summarize them if you'd like.
I reviewed the complaint. I signed it this morning, so I understand the facts.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Brazil, do you object to the court scheduling a hearing?
律师有没有反对？就是法庭安排礼拜3的听证。
Your Honor, as risk of flight or serious risk of flight, I need to see what the government, other than the complaint, is going to present to say that Ms. Han is a serious risk of flight. And I need more information from Ms. Han about whether or not she can be. What, at the very least, I would like to have happen is the interview and the scheduling of the detention hearing. We can schedule it now, and I can present additional facts about whether or not it should proceed.
Okay. I find, based on the allegations in the complaint, that there is enough information to give the government the right to a detention hearing. Having said that, Ms. Brazil, you are invited to rebut that on Wednesday, June the 11th. But I'm going to order Ms. Han temporarily detained until detention hearing on June 11th. Ms. Han, we call it a detention hearing, but your attorney will have a chance to argue that you should be released with conditions at that hearing.
礼拜3的时候是一个关押的听审，然后在那个听审上面，你的律师呢有权在庭上面替你就是争辩就是申请说有条件的释放。
Ms. Brazil, is there anything else you need me to do for Ms. Han today?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Sausenstein?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, so they'll be back for the detention hearing. It sounds like that might be happening tomorrow. And we'll see what the judge does. But based on the lying and the dishonesty that has been shown, I think that a lot of her statements are not going to be looked at with credibility, and she'll be held in custody for this fun little game from China. Very fun. Yeah, just kind of mix in that and just lick it and just mix it in the city's water supply, whatever you got to do, and have fun with it. I hope you enjoy the pleasure within it. We're glad they got caught.